Moving on, the next item on our agenda is going to be working with the default page because at the moment we see that we have a nice header and everything is working out really well. But what about we type some kind of URL that obviously doesn't exist in our case, which is going to be like hello. And then we have hello from error page. And I think it would make a little bit more sense if this is going to be more presentable. I'm going to head over again to my structure. Then within the default, I'm going to see what we have. So at the moment we have our default JS and we already have our header. That's obviously going to be our component. So why don't we do this? Why don't we import header? And we're going to say again from the components, this is going to be the relative path. And obviously we need to leave the pages folder, then components, and then we're going to have the header. That's going to be the name of our component. And I'm going to switch this around. So there's going to be no heading 4. And you know what? I can just remove the sidebar. We don't need it for now. And we're going to write header. And let's say that we're going to be passing this. And why don't we also, on the right-hand side, set up the default page that we're going to be getting for the, let's say, wrong page if we're looking for something. So again, let's do the hello. And now we're going to have the header. The title is obviously going to be default title. But why don't we add some different things just so it looks actually better? Well, first and foremost, we can change the title. Since obviously we know that this is the component that accepts the title prop. And I was going to say that the title prop is going to be 404. That's going to be my main title, as well as I know that I have children. I'm going to say I can pass some different children, not just the default title that I have right now. I also could, let's say, some other heading 2. And within the heading 2, we can add maybe some class names. So class name, text white for the white text, as well as text uppercase. Text uppercase. And you know what? Let's do not text white. Let's do text light. And in Bootstrap, there's going to be difference. So this is going to be more gray, as well as text uppercase. And let's say that you are in the wrong place. Let's save that. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, everything is working really well. But in this case, we can see that there's a mistake because I have 3 P's. And that's why it's not uppercase. And you know what? I will going to add another link. So I'm going to say again, import link from the, we're going to be importing from the React router. So let's say from React router. And obviously this is going to have to be the package name. And then let's say after the heading 2, we're going to have a link. Link is going to have 2 attributes. And in this case, we're going to be pointing back to the home page. So once we go to the page that does not exist, then we can just click on the link and head over back to the home page. But in this case, we're going to copy and paste a bunch of classes that we already had in the home. So I can just say here, return home. And since I would want this button to be exactly the same, either we can write these classes or I can just copy and paste it. So I can just say class name, and these are going to be the class names that I'm going to be adding. So let's see, in a default one, we're going to have the class name, and then let's see what's going to happen. So wait a minute. Now let me save it. And now I have return home. So at the moment we're going to click on it, we're going to go back home where we have the amazing recipes. However, I also would like to show you how we can work with the class. Because remember when we were creating the header, and by the way, now I would like to see the header, we had this class of style class that by default had the header hero. So that's the reason why we all the time have this image. But we said that this is going to be the prop, meaning if we're going to pass the class ourselves, then we can have a different layout or different look or different image, you name it. And I think this would be a great time to test it out. So I'm going to say not only the title, but also we have the style class. Remember that was the prop. And now let's just create the class. Again, in our case, we're just creating a reference to the class. We're not actually creating a class. We're going to have to do that, in fact, in the actual CSS. But the moment I'm going to say that the class name is going to be default hero. And you know what? I can just do it like this. Default hero. That's going to be my class name. And now let's head over back to the app CSS and start styling this default hero. Well, first and foremost, I would want that default hero to have a bunch of the same things that we already had. Let's say min height, as well as the setup for the image. But we're going to change the actual image we're going to be using. So in this case, what I'm going to say is, okay, so there's going to be a default hero. So at the moment, nothing is going to change, obviously, because we haven't added anything different. And just to show you that what kind of layout we're going to have, if we're going to save it right now, if we're going to go to the hello or to any kind of page that doesn't exist, it's going to be displayed like this, because obviously we're starting to work with the class. We already added the class. We obviously haven't created it in a CSS, but we already added as a prop. So we already are overriding it, our default one. And now it's our job to, in fact, style it in a CSS. So let's say default hero. Now I'm going to copy pretty much everything that I already had. So it's going to go back to the same one that we already had previously. However, now I'm going to add a different image because I'm just going to say like this. Okay, so for the default one, again, I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to say, yeah, background is going to be like this. But why don't we change the colors as well? You know what? By the way, since we're doing it everything, then we can just say, okay, this is not going to be the orange one. So we can delete all these colors. And remember, we had the black one that we originally were planning to use it. So I'm just going to copy and paste it. And I'm going to say for the default one or the 40404, we're going to use the dark background, as well as we're going to change the image. So in this case, I'm going to know that there's going to be an images, and I have, surprise, surprise, a default background image, since if you are as well using the setup files, you should have access to it. And yeah, this is going to be my default image. So what happened right now, we finally used it as a component. So not only we're having one look whenever we're rendering the header, but we also have an option of actually adjusting it. You want more text? Just add it in children. You want different title? Just change the title prop. You want a different layout? You get the idea. You just get a different class. So on and so forth. And successfully, we have worked with the header. Now we're using the header into components. That's going to be the home page as well as the 404, the error page. And I think now we can switch and start working with the recipes page.